The Sandy and Toddcast is a Mind Garden Media podcast in association with
Screw You, Todd
Productions. We are getting closer and closer to the end of another season of the Sandy and Toddcast.
Season 3. I can't believe it. There, I said it. I can't believe it. Season 3 is almost done.
She is so excited. Season 3 is almost done. It is almost done. We've got like maybe 1 or 2 more episodes after this one, and then we'll be off for the holidays. And I mean, it's kind of crazy, but we've got a good one for everybody this week. Yvette joined us last week on a live cast, and we talked crystals and we talked about her life, and that's what we're going to give you today on this podcast. Season 3, episode 14, Yvette Rocks, and it's next on the Sandy and Toddcast.
Crowds, arguments, loud noises, narcissists, energy vampires. Does that seem scary to you? It can to an empath. Sandy and Todd from the Sandy and Toddcast invite you to join them for a new podcast, the Empathicary Podcast. These two empaths know exactly what it's like, and they'd like to share their stories, knowledge, and ideas with you. Dive deep into the world of the empath. The Empathicary Podcast with Sandy and Todd. Find it anywhere you find your podcasts and like them on Facebook.
Broadcasting from 2 very different yet magical places not found on any map. Get ready to discuss the strange, weird, ghostly, crazy, spooky, and odd things that take place around us each and every day. All while having a little bit of fun. This is the Sandy and Toddcast.
And it's another Sandy and Toddcast. Thanks for being along with us. As always, she's Sandy.
He's Todd.
Yeah, and we do this kind of thing. Yeah, it's pretty much what we do. And
we're such nerds.
Here you go, everybody. Here's your podcast. Bye now.
Bye.
That's
Bye.
going to be it. Yeah. So, yeah, we were just talking about the fact that we're up to the end of another season. Our seasons run around 16 episodes, and we've done 3 this year. So do the math with me right now. So if we did 16 episodes per season, and there's 3 seasons, how many episodes will that be?
16 plus 16 is 32. That means we're at 64 episodes by the end of this season, Todd.
Nice. And that's just the audio episodes. That doesn't include all the live stuff we've done this year, which is crazy. Some weeks we were doing like 2 or 3 of those, you know?
Yeah, in the very beginning we were, and then we realized that we were going to get burned out pretty fast by doing that many. We had 4 in some weeks.
We didn't realize it. We actually did burn out after it.
Yeah, but we did. But it's always fun to do the live cast, though. And what's really cool is that not every live cast makes it to an audio cast.
Right.
So there's a lot of extra bonus stuff for our audio listeners. If they go to our Facebook page, the Sandy and Toddcast, they can see all of our live casts there. So if there's a live cast that didn't make it to audio, it's sort of like a bonus episode for our audio listeners.
Right. And beyond that, besides that, all the bonus stuff that they get at Stay Weirdos, Friends of the Sandy and Toddcast, we do after the live cast too, that nobody else gets to see except for people who join that group. So talk about more bonus stuff. Boom.
Yeah, which is so cool because who doesn't like bonus episode, bonus content, put it that way? Because let's face it, you know, Dave and I over the years have gone to a lot of concerts. This is the best way I can put it into a different context. We've gone to a lot of concerts, a lot of shows, because being in the radio industry, the entertainment industry, we have been afforded that opportunity to go meet, actually go meet and sometimes really hang out with some of these big music people. And to us, there's nothing cooler. Like if you go to, they call them meet and greets. If you go to a meet and greet for, say, a country star like Toby Keith, a lot of times there's 100 people in there and it's just basically a hi, how are you? Here's your, get your picture taken and leave.
Right.
We've been fortunate enough to have many opportunities with some of the biggest music artists in the industry to be able to actually literally hang out with them. And to me, that's sort of because you kind of get that behind the scenes feel for them. You get to know them as people and not just these musical icon type of people. And to me, that's sort of what, on a smaller level, but that's sort of what the bonus content is to me. You get a little extra peek that other people don't get to see or hear just by getting that bonus content. And so that's my main objective in giving bonus content to people, is just so you can get a little bit better, more personal view of who we are and what we do and why we do it.
All right. So who is your favorite meet and greet?
Oh my gosh.
Of all time.
I have had so many. I'll tell this one briefly because I've told the story before on the audio cast, but Aaron Lewis from Stained, absolutely amazing. Got to hang out with him backstage, was having conversations with him, just totally, like we knew each other forever. Got to sit on the side of the stage while he performed. It was just amazing. But there's been other ones like Montgomery Gentry from the country world, and Toy Gentry, who was unfortunately killed in a helicopter accident several years ago. The year before, I actually, for the second time, got to hang out with him backstage. And he was, they're just, some of them are just the nicest people. And Troy Gentry, I'll always hold close to my heart because he was such a kind person and just wanted to talk to you.
Yeah.
What didn't have an air about him at all, just wanted to hang out and talk, tell stories. I heard stories that probably nobody else knows. That personal feeling is great. So I've had a lot of them. And I've had some that really disappointed me. I won't name who they are, but they've really disappointed me because everything that I built up in my head that they were going to be was so not what they were. But, it is what it is.
And see, that's not my life. Like, I was in radio too, and in my heyday, like, some of the people I hung with included people like NSYNC and Britney Spears and Eminem and Five for Fighting, Vladimir, I can't remember his name, the guy that is in Five for Fighting, but John Mayer, all those people I got to meet and kind of hang with a little bit, not enjoying any of it. I mean, it's just not me. But the one thing I will say that I got to do one time that was really incredible was like season 3 or 4 of the Ellen DeGeneres show. Before all the scandals, before whatever. So this is really early. I wanted to go and see the show. And so, was going to go. And they're like, well, you're coming all the way from there. And we can't guarantee that you'll get in. I'm like, that's fine. It's just going to be a quick go out, see if we get on the shit, get in the audience and then come back. Lisa was part of that whole thing. She was with me, Lisa Hale. And so like 2 days before, they're like, hey, you're coming out for like a couple of days, right? I'm like, yeah. Would you be interested in being part of something that's going to be more than an hour or two? I'm like, sure, yeah. Well, this is going to be like an all-day thing. I'm like, yeah, I'll do that. Right. So no idea what's going on. We get out there. We don't even get in the studio. They put us outside the studio. Like if you see the studio doors from the outside, it's usually these big studio doors with their big logo on it. And there's this big Ellen on it, and stuff. And we're standing out there with a relatively small group of people, maybe 30 people. And all of a sudden, Ellen walks out and she tells us that she's taking us on a tour of the Warner Brothers lot. So we get to see sets like ER. We go on the set of, at that time, West Wing. We went to 2.5 Men. Actually got to sit on the set. Joey was a TV show at that time. And then when we weren't part of the audience, because the entire 30 people couldn't go everywhere, they would take us on like wardrobe tours and see other studios and stuff and feed us. I mean, it was amazing. But the coolest thing was on the set of 2.5 Men, okay? Which I never watched back then. I got to sit right behind Ellen to watch the interview. And as she came over and she looked at me and she goes, "Are you guys having fun today?" And I got to actually talk to her. So
that's so exciting.
It was really cool. And here's the thing that blew my mind. So not only did we go out, we got a whole day. We had lunch. We had dinner. Julia Louis-Dreyfus was out as a guest. All these people from the TV shows were guests. And we got to see it all.
Oh, my gosh.
And like I said, they fed us. They took us on all these tours. It was just so incredibly nice what they did. We all got digital cameras so that we could take pictures of it. And then at the very end, they took a picture of us at the beginning of the show where she comes out and she does her monologue and stuff. They got us all in a group and they took a picture from way up high. And when we were done with the day, several hours later, we were driving by the studio and they dropped down this huge banner on the side of one of the studios. And here it was, the picture of all of us promoting her show.
Oh my gosh.
And we hung. I mean, so, right, I'm going, this is the coolest thing ever.
Oh my God.
There were actually people who were pissing and moaning that it was too long. They didn't want to be there. All that kind of stuff. And I'm like, how do you complain about that?
How do you complain about that? Oh my God. Do you have that picture?
I don't. We did not get a copy of the picture, but it was just this huge, on all of the studios, they have big banners for all their shows, and we were on the banner. Someplace out there, the show is still out there, and the best part of the entire show is at the beginning when Ellen dances. She came out and danced with everybody, and Lisa was dancing on TV. And it is the best fucking thing in the world. I got to find the copy of that.
Can you please find the copy of that, because I would love to see that. Oh my God. That's like one of the best stories you've ever told me. We literally flew out there. We stayed one night, went to the show that day, stayed another night, got back on a plane and came back. Oh
That's how fast it was. So
that's amazing, though. I mean, that actually beats the one where the cops were coming at you at your own home.
Sure, dropped a weapon.
Nothing could top that one.
Listen, you just remind me that I have to tell a story. I've got so many Lisa stories about walking home, walking in my house and going to my bathroom and seeing puke on the walls. I mean, I can tell you so many stories. The one time I actually asked her to shovel the sidewalk and she fell on her ass. And I mean, there's just so many Lisa stories. So
I love Lisa. Oh, I love her. Oh, that was a great story, though. I'm so excited about that. I love that. One of my favorite things, I've loved Ellen forever. I know we're getting off on one of our famous tangents, but I've loved Ellen forever. And one of my favorite skits that she would do every single year was when she would send her producer, Andy, through the haunted house.
Oh, my God, yes. Yes.
That I could watch the same one 15 million times and laugh my ass off each and every time. It's absolutely hilarious. And she was just a genius at things like that. When she would jump out and scare people.
Yes.
Oh, my gosh. Just the best. So, kudos to Ellen for giving people an amazing experience like that. That's amazing.
I know that she's taken some heat and all that kind of stuff, and I would never side one way or another.
No.
But I think that genuinely deep down inside, she's probably quite aloof and maybe not necessarily always aware of what's going on her TV show. But I also don't think that she's intentionally a mean person. I think that sometimes it happens because it happens, unfortunately. So
yes. And you know what? We're all human beings. So nobody's perfect. Everybody has issues. And, I think that there also has to be some understanding with a lot of, not just her, but with anything. There has to be some understanding with it, too.
Yeah. Agreed. There's more than one side of that story. So we'll just say it that way.
That's right.
All right. Well, I mean, we went off on that tangent. Should we just go into the podcast?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's do it. Time for season 3, episode 14. It's Yvette Teichmiller-Hewitt, and she's going to talk about crystals this time around on Yvette Rocks, the Sandy and Toddcast. So I've known her for quite a while.
Right.
And I don't know how I met back up with her, but it's through the Woo Woo Ways or something like that, or one of the groups we are on Facebook or whatever. I think I at one point had been talking about my health concerns, and she gave me some advice, and I took her advice, and I was kind of blown away. I didn't realize that she had gotten into crystals as much as she has.
Right.
So I'm really excited about having her on tonight. I think it's going to be a really interesting podcast. I think that we're going to learn a lot tonight, and I can't wait to get to her story. So let's bring her on tonight and introduce her and get her story. Yvette Teichmiller-Hewitt, thanks for being on the program tonight. There she is.
Yvette. Welcome.
So there's something really weird with the sound right now. It's like really slow. Remember when you played the records really slow? That's how it sounds.
This is good.
So I'm like pulling all my crystals and I'm like, is there demons coming in? What is happening? But all I can hear is this really slow, like growling noise.
Really?
That is kind of freaky. I'm sure it has something to do with your internet, to be honest with you.
I can hear nothing that you're saying.
It's probably her headset. Do you want to try getting your other headset?
Still
We're
the
on
same.
Twitch. Still the same.
Twitch.
Am I coming over to you okay?
Yes.
Sound-wise?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah. Everything was fine before we started the broadcast.
I know.
That is so weird. I'll tell you what, I'm going to bump her off and let her try and come back in.
Okay.
There we go. We'll give her a shot to come back in. I'll go back into my story about her. So I didn't know her that well in high school. And I think she's a year younger than me. And so when she kind of reached down, she said, you need to try this. I was kind of blown away by it. How's that? Is that better, Yvette?
I can hear you guys normal. You're not demonic anymore.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Oh, that's good.
That was weird.
Todd's a little sometimes, but
A little dark energy going on. I mean, I understand that.
I know. We'll work on that.
So, Yvette, you reached out to me a while back. I think I'd posted online about headache issues. And I said something about, what do people do for headaches, blah, blah, blah. And I think I specifically asked about CBD oil or something like that. And you opened up to me and you reached out with some advice, which I want to thank you for, because I really appreciate that. But then that allowed me to ask you about your entrance into crystals and healing and all that kind of stuff. And I was blown away by your story. So would you share with our listeners tonight how you got to where you are today? You're a registered nurse. How did you get to using crystals?
Well, my very first use with a crystal was while I was working in a correctional system. So I was a weekend charge nurse in an inner city Milwaukee prison. And you can imagine the negative energy that I incurred every day. And being an empath, you feel it.
Right.
You can put up all the protection you want, but you feel it. So I went to a crystal shop and I was like, I need something for negative energy. Help. That's where it started. So I got a piece of black obsidian and I started carrying it in my pocket every day at work. And then it just kind of started with that piece of that one crystal.
So you started with crystals, but when it comes to like the healing aspect of it and things like that, I know that you've had some health issues. You've really gone down a rough road.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was kind of weird. I've been a nurse for 19 years. Yeah, 19 years.
Wow.
So a lot of that is, like medical background, everything is medical. And it wasn't working for me. I was spending most of my hours in bed. My quality of life had really declined. And then it all came to a head about 2.5 years ago, about 2 years ago, when I was diagnosed with a whole bunch of stuff at once. My biggest diagnosis was Lyme disease. And so I started on the treatment with that. And I ended up being done with work the following February of 2020. I took about 7 months off to do the treatment. And I, like the medical medicine part of it, kept making me sicker. Like more meds, more everything, medication management. And I was like, there's got to be a better way. I just don't believe that I have to live my life like this. And so then I started reaching out to other people that have like homeopathic backgrounds and spiritual backgrounds, and like, you guys just throw something at me, I'll try anything. And I started with Gina, who was on here recently. I did a session with her. I started going to acupuncture, I started doing, watching Abraham Hicks, who's a big one on manifestation. And then I got into Dr. Joe Dispenza with quantum healing. And the crystals I really connected with somewhere in between like acupuncture and Abraham Hicks. I really just started delving into that and connecting more with them and just learning more things about them and bringing them into my treatment plan that I made for myself, and just placing them in places where I could amplify my healing and my treatment plan. Yeah.
So how do you go to work every day as a nurse? And I struggle with this now too, because I'm in one of those, with the medicines and stuff like that. You're taking this medicine, but now you got to take this medicine because you're taking that medicine and it's creating other issues. Kind of going through that myself right now. How do you reconcile the fact that you are a registered nurse, and yet you believe in some of this other healing ability, holistic healing, crystals, all that kind of stuff? Do you marry the two? Do they work together? Or do you kind of have a line in your life where this part of me is a registered nurse, but this part of me is a believer in that?
So I quit my job. Correction. Because, well, number one, my doctor was very frank with me and said, if you go back to that environment, you'll crash and burn. And I said, you're right. And so then I took a job with a BioLife, a plasmapheresis company. So it's a very different kind of nursing. I don't have to educate people on medications and things like that every day. The type of job that I do now is very different. So I did that as part of it. It's not that I don't believe in the medical world. I believe that there's a perfect balance between Eastern and Western medicine.
Right. Great.
And I think that that's becoming more of the common knowledge of people, and so they're reaching out to these other approaches to try to bring them into their life so that we aren't managing care, we're helping people heal.
Yeah,
like we can heal.
How are you doing health-wise now? Do you feel like you've healed some of the things that you were going through?
Yes, but I had to dig deep. A lot of it was past trauma. I had to change some relationships, sever some relationships. I really had to do some healing internally myself and improve my love for me. I think that's where it really had to start. So that was hard to peel back those layers and look at that. Yuck.
Yeah.
It's not pretty, and to be honest,
No.
it's not an easy task to do, and I think that's why a lot of people, including myself, kind of put off doing it, because it's a lot of hard work. And if you're doing it by yourself, I think it almost seems insurmountable at times.
But that's the thing. You don't have to do it by yourself. There's so many people out there like Gina, like my acupuncturist, like myself, that are willing to guide people through that and help them and say, you're not alone. There is a better way to live your life. Here's the hard work to do. Here's how we can help you do it.
Right.
Yeah. So I think it's just those supportive services that everybody kind of is learning to connect with, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's walk back a little bit, because I know that you are a medium and you practice Reiki. Are your abilities something that you knew, or sort of maybe subconsciously knew about your whole life? Or is this something that you just sort of fell into?
Let me just add on to that. Like, did you know in high school you had abilities? Did you really?
Oh, yeah.
Shut up.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Even before that. Yeah. And then I kind of hit that decade or so where, there was that darkness period where I went through some bad things and some tough things, and they went away. I mean, I lost touch with myself. So then, of course, you lose those abilities. Once in a while, they would pop up, but I was in such a dark place that I would just ignore them.
Yeah.
So then as I started healing, boy, they just popped right back open. I'm like, whoo, hey guys, welcome back.
That's what I'm learning a lot. Like my sisters have gotten into it, and my sister Vicki has really kind of healed her past lives and gone through a lot of that process. And the more she heals, the more ability she finds she has, you know?
Yes, I would agree with that. I was at a painting, an intuitive painting session on Friday with my friend Tracy, who has just started opening up her gifts. And we were done with the painting, just talking with the owner of the shop, and the owner was telling us how a spirit had come into the shop. And I looked around and I was like, nope, it's not mine. Like I could tell right away, like, nope, it's not anyone associated with me. And then she's like, it's a female. And I was like, oh, it's Aunt Kathy. My friend Tracy, her Aunt Kathy had passed away. I think it was in July.
Wow.
So she had come into the room to communicate with Tracy through Karen and I. It was really cool.
Tammy asks about intuitive painting. Where did you do that at?
I know. I would love to do that.
Up in Green Bay, Energetic Arts. So you do like fluid art, and then she does the intuitive message. She reads like the intuitive message.
Oh my gosh, that's so awesome. Tammy, we should go. I would love to.
Well, Tammy and I were talking about the fact that we were going to do, she's thinking about doing a podcast, and I said there should be artwork on the podcast, but it should just be stick figures because none of us can actually do anything that's artistic. So
you cannot screw up fluid art. Like you can't. You just can't do it.
It's sort of like a BLT. How can you screw up a BLT? You can't screw up into, you know.
By using really cheap bacon. That's how you screw up a BLT.
True. That's true. Or turkey bacon.
There you go. Right. Oh, God, no. So that's so interesting. Now, what kind of gifts do you have? Everybody's a little bit different. So what kind of abilities do you actually have?
My knowing is pretty strong. And once in a while I'll have seeing. But I really have to be in a calm and in tune state. Yeah. That's not as common for me.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Interesting. How did you get into the Reiki?
Well, it was just kind of another level to learn, and I just wanted to check it out, really. So I thought, well, why not? My friend wanted to do a class, and I'm like, sure, I'll do a class with you. And I mean, I had done Healing Touch. It used to be called Healing Touch. Oh gosh. Probably it was when I was at LPN, so probably 15 years ago. State of Care had actually offered us that class, and I was like, oh yeah, I would love to help people heal with energy work. And so I had done that a long time ago, but then never really used it a whole lot. And so I felt like Reiki would be another opportunity to try to use more energy work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I love Reiki. I think Reiki is amazing what it can do. I had a session with Gina as well, and I thought what Gina did just completely left me a different person.
Yeah.
When I was done with her. It was so wild. Every single time I was a different person when I was done. It was crazy. And she had me doing things that just kind of blew my mind. And so, any kind of energy and healing and anything like that, inner healing is so important, because I don't think you can truly, live and experience life if you don't heal first, heal yourself first.
I would agree.
Just want to let people know if they've got a question for Yvette tonight, they can shoot it in the comments there, and we'll get them to her. And then I just also want to let people know that we are going to do an after the live cast. So there'll be some specific special content that'll be going to the Stay Weirdos Friends of the Sandy and Toddcast that you can't see tonight. And I want to prep you, Yvette. The question's going to be like the top 5 crystals that you think everybody should have. And then we'll have some other questions for you too. So be ready for that.
Todd asks weird questions, but just go with
I love weird.
That's weird.
No, yeah, just a little bit. So I want to get back to the crystals. You said, when you were working at that facility in corrections and you're an empath, I can't even imagine what that would be like. I can hardly go to a grocery store and deal with the energy there. I can't imagine what that was. Seriously. I mean, and I'm, and I think Sandy and I will both admit to this. Now that we've had the pandemic and everybody's kind of stayed home and, just kind of done their own thing for a while. I don't want to go out. I don't ever want to leave. I've got I've got a roll of toilet paper in this house and I've got to go out and get some. I'm trying to find other ways of wiping my butt because I don't want to go out, So, I mean, really, what was it like for you in that situation? It had to have just been horrible.
So this is a hard one. Like, I would find ways to manage it. So I kind of got a nickname, like when I would walk on the unit, people would call me Sunshine. Like, hey, hey, Sunshine. Like, because I would always just bring that calm and that light.
Right.
Or if there was like a difficult situation, they would send me in because they'd know that I could go in and talk to somebody, but also like I have very hard boundaries and I followed the rules to a T. So they knew that I was very strict. So it's like when you start at an institution, everybody that comes in contact with you is going to try to take advantage of you. But once you establish your professionalism, your calmness, let them know that you are really there because you care and you want to provide good care, the whole tone changes. I mean, I'd have people, inmates yelling horrible things at me, and another inmate would say, "No, don't yell at her. She's cool. That's Miss Moore." And they would like shut it down for me. It was just kind of establishing that reputation and doing that upfront work that kind of set the tone for me. Mm-hmm. I mean, there were still situations where you would walk in and they would be exhausting and you would have to go back to the unit and just like sit there for moments. Or I'm not saying the job didn't exhaust me. It was very exhausting, but I had done it I worked in corrections for 22 years.
Wow. Like
that's what I knew. I don't ever want to say that I miss it, but I feel like it was really a big part of me to give that service to the world.
I was just going to say, you may not miss it, but I think that it misses you a little bit. Like your energy and your personality and your gifts were probably very needed in that situation.
Yes, I agree.
I think that empaths have probably one of the most difficult jobs there is because our tendency is to want to heal, but our tendency, our defense mechanism is to sort of shut ourselves down and, build the walls up so that we don't get too hurt.
I saw a great meme that I'm an empath. I love humans, but I hate people. That's kind of how I feel about it. Like I want to love everybody, but I hate them kind of too.
I know. Yeah. So it is difficult. So I can't even imagine. They used to call me when I was in retail management years ago. They made me the customer service manager because I just would like calm people down. And of course, back then I didn't know what was going on with me, and I had no idea. But I was just like. So when you said Sunshine, it kind of made me chuckle a little bit. Cause I'm like, yeah, that was me, customer service manager in retail.
Right.
But so.
That's why they made me the weekend charge nurse because they knew I could handle it. And I'm like, yes, but I can't handle it.
I know, right? It's hard. It's hard. But so, wow, that's amazing. Absolutely amazing. So tell me, what is quantum healing? I'm not sure that many people understand what quantum healing is.
Oh, it is amazing. Sorry.
I'm going to be honest with you. You sound like a stoner. It's
it's exactly
so
that. It's like the best weed you've ever smoked. Sorry. So quantum healing is about the energy that you put out and what your beliefs are. So I was told that I would never heal from Lyme's disease, that it would take me 2 to 3 years to get back to somewhat of a normal life. And I was like, no. No, no, no. I'm not listening to that. I don't want to hear that. That is not what I do.
Right.
So part of the healing journey was digging into Dr. Joe Dispenza. I started listening to his meditations. He focuses on, doing that deep inner work, telling yourself different things, changing your mindset, reframing your thoughts. So, I don't tell people I have a list of illnesses. I say I'm healing, and you just leave it at that. So you don't focus on the problem, you focus on the solution.
Right.
So it's just a different way of thinking, retraining your brain so that you're not focused on the problem, you're focused on the solution, is really the easiest way for me to describe it. But it's also doing that deeper work to get there again, too.
So
I'm gonna have to change my ways, because I'm the first one to go, well, I've got this, and then I'm dealing with that right now, and my hip hurts. And by the way, my eyesight, that's kind of how my life is. I mean, I am the poster child of what needs to change in life. I have so much work to do, and I admit that, but eventually I'll get there.
you will.
You will.
You will.
Yeah, you will. I just don't wake up every day. I wake up every day and my feet hurt. And then I start walking and I start thinking about, I'm walking. I feel good that I'm walking. So then I change my mindset about it. Instead of thinking about, it hurts to work, or it hurts to walk, I'm thinking about, okay, I'm walking.
Yeah.
And I'm thankful for that.
I need to come with a syringe and jab that in you, and whatever that is that makes you feel that way or think that way, just suck it out, and then I'll sell that. I'll put a little lemonade stand out front, and I'll just sell good vibes.
You know what though, Todd? I've had to practice it without even realizing it with my eyes lately. I have retinopathy, and it requires, as of a month or so ago, it requires every 6 to 8 weeks injections in my eyes. And so I've had to sort of go through this cycle of, oh my God, I don't know what I'm going to do if I lose my sight. I'm just going to go crazy. And the truth is, though, and I've had to do that sort of thinking now and say, but you're seeing 20/20 with your corrective lenses. You're actually being proactive in what you're doing. And you're making it better. And look, you can see and you can drive and you can see fine now. You don't have any real issues because of what you're doing. And it's really that mindset that gets you turned around and not looking at it as this terrifying thing. It's sort of something you're grateful for. You're thankful for.
Yeah.
It's changing that mindset. So I have had to do it. I didn't realize that I was doing that per se, but it is something that I've started to really turn around. So, yeah, it works too, because I feel so much better now. Even that fear that I had in the beginning is now gone.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So
I think that's the biggest part with quantum healing, is letting go of that fear. Yeah. That was huge for me. I don't believe that. I don't even believe that I have Lyme right now. I just don't believe it. I don't have any symptoms of it. I may just be in remission, but I choose to believe that I don't have it in my body at all. Done. Gone.
We all know the power. We know the power of thought. We know that, belief and faith, and no matter whether it's religion, no matter what it is very powerful, because that in and of itself can heal you. So I totally agree.
That's how we're going to heal the world, because we're going to get everybody thinking at that level, and that vibrational energy is just going to make the world a better place.
Agree.
We're doing it.
Seems to be. I mean, I feel like there's this movement to a certain extent, and I guess that's a layman's term in looking at it, but I feel like, as you mentioned, Yvette, people are starting to marry the Western and Eastern medicine. and healing and stuff like that. They're looking at other forms of getting better other than just taking the drugs that are prescribed and all that kind of stuff. How do you go from buying a crystal to help you get through the day at your job to owning a store? I mean, what's that process like, and what made you decide to do that? Yeah, I really do.
Yeah.
It was an accident. Oh my gosh. I was shopping on this auction site. Yes, I'll call it that. She's a lady out of Green Bay who sells cabochons, and I didn't even know what that was. But she's putting these up for auction, and they were beautiful stones. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to bid on some of those. I need some of those. Because she would post like what they were used for and all that. So I spent like almost $300. Cabochons. I just kept bidding and bidding and bidding because they were gorgeous. And I thought they were stones that I could like this size that I could carry in my pocket and they wouldn't be broken. And then I got them in the mail. And I was like, oh, these are not carryable stones. I will break these. I will ruin these. And that'll be like $300 down the drain.
Mm-hmm.
Like, well, what am I going to do about this? So then I reached out to her, and for her to wrap them, it would have cost me $40 per stone, like to wear them as a necklace.
Right.
I'm like, okay, well, that would have been like $800 more. So we're like, oh, I'm just going to learn how to wrap them myself. And then I'm going to maybe sell some jewelry online. And then next thing you knew it, I was spending thousands of dollars opening a crystal store. Here's my thing. So everybody is like, you should go to these metaphysical fairs and all that. And I'm like, why? They're like, to sell your crystals. And I'm like, I don't want to sell my crystals. I want to get my crystals into people's hands that don't have them and don't know about them and want to connect them. All the people going to the metaphysical fairs, they already know about them.
Right.
So I go to like these vendor fairs or these art and craft shows, and I connect people with them that way. And it's mind-blowing to me how hungry people are for this stuff.
Yeah.
Like, people want to know. It's amazing.
Well, and again, we talk about this a lot in our conversations with our guests, and that is there is that desire for knowledge. And as you said earlier, you don't have to do this alone. But as humans, I think sometimes we're afraid to ask the questions. We're afraid to find the people to ask the questions that we have. So if you're out in public and you're already there to ask, and we don't have to come find you, it's even easier. So, Facebook's has become a very good place to kind of spread the message that you're trying to spread. I think it's great.
Yeah. Now to get a storefront.
Yeah.
That's next.
It's funny because even my husband, he's on our paranormal investigations team, and he actually practices Reiki, not professionally, but he does Reiki and stuff. But he's not really into the crystals or anything like that. He actually made a statement the other day that really took me back. He said, in a lot of ways, the world seems to be growing up. We sort of started to evolve a little bit. Not all of us, unfortunately, but I think enough of us where we are curious now. We are interested in maybe learning a little something different and trying new things and maybe taking a road that we haven't taken before. And I sort of noticed that too. And I do think that online has really helped that. I think that podcasts, like ours or any of the metaphysical podcasts, anything like that, really help people to understand that no matter what your level of understanding, there's always room to learn more.
Oh, gosh, yes.
Yeah. Yes.
100 times. I learn something or 10 things a day. It just is mind-blowing.
It's true.
Speaking of which, Tammy's asking the questions. If you're new to crystals, how do you choose or find the crystals you need? What's the best way to do that?
So what I've had this at the shows, people walk up to my tables of rocks and they'll say, well, how do I know what I need? And I'm like, well, what do you think you need help with? So is it something, a physical ailment? Is it anxiety? Is it depression? Is something like an environmental thing in your home? And then I'll go from there and connect them. I also have an intuitive gift where if I'm connecting in with that person to talk, engage in that conversation with them, the my guide team will help me and connect them with the correct crystal that they truly need. The thing is that I've found about crystals, and I don't know if anybody would agree with me on this or not, because most people don't talk about this stuff, but I have 6 or 7 books on crystals. And sometimes I read them and I'm like, no, I don't think that's right. The thing is, if you pick up a rock and I pick up a rock, we're both going to get different feelings from it,
right,
and different needs, different energy. We might all feel energy, but it's all going to serve a different purpose for each of us. So for me to just pull open a book sometimes and read it, I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. I want to connect into that energy and that flow that I'm getting from Source and my guide team, and just know that that's the correct connection. So I focus more on that.
I think that's good. And I think that our podcast has tried to keep the door open in that everybody's experiences is a little different. My energy is different from yours, is different from Sandy's. And so the way we experience things and the energy that we feel, even in similar situations, will be different. And I think we need to be open to know that what works for Sandy may not work for me, may not work for you. We'll find what works for us. And that's our path. And it's okay to be different from other people. And it's okay for us to, not have the same response that somebody else would have. So I'm glad that you brought that up. And in your show notes that you provided, one of the things that I just loved about what you said was everything is energy.
It is. I just got full body chills, you guys. Like I am just it tingles so hard it hurts right now.
We, when it comes to paranormal research over the years, I've really come to determine that I don't know that I believe in ghosts and stuff like that as much as I believe in energy. Spirit is energy. We are energy. Everything is energy.
Right.
And so when I read that, I was like, that's exactly how I feel about life. Everything is energy.
Yes.
Everything. And we're all connected. Everything is connected.
Yeah. Agree.
That's why we're gonna make this a better world to live in, because we're all doing this, or not all of us, but a lot of us are doing that work to raise up the vibrational energy of the world. That's why it's happening.
How do we connect more? Like, I feel like there's a lot of people who do this in secret, who feel this way or do research in secret, or afraid to reach out and find other people to connect with and stuff like that. Maybe it's just me, but I feel like there's this fear of saying, hey, I believe in this stuff, because as humans in the world we live in, sometimes we're afraid to make that statement. It
put ourselves out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do we need to do to make that easier for people?
You come to Circle.
Explain what that means for people who don't understand.
You come to, so there's circles or groups where people like me come together and we talk about stuff. We talk about the energies that are going on. We talk about the visits that we've had from, star beings, or dreams that we've had, or experiences that we've had. We share that stuff and there's no judgment. It's like this free space where people can talk about this stuff and not be judged.
Yeah.
So I think that the more of that's going on, that's been one of my goals. That's my goal for the greater Fond du Lac area right now, is to, after the holidays, I'm going to work harder at it to get that connection going, because there's so many people right here. But as far as I know, we don't have a group like that gets together. So Gina keeps telling me, well, Yvette, that's because you're the one to start the group. And I'm like, well, of course I am. Let me get that started.
But I think it's so true, though. It's so true. Like you said, Todd, we can all be on different paths, and we are. I don't think no two people are exactly alike in their path, their journey. But if you have people there supporting you, even if they're on a different path than you are, there's still that support. And that's what circles do, and groups and meetings and things like us. I think that shows you that it's okay. You're not, when I was growing up, I didn't talk about the paranormal. I told myself that I didn't have, I just completely, I shut down. I didn't allow myself to think that I had abilities or anything like that because I didn't want to be weird. I was already weird enough.
I was just going to say, I mean,
I beat into that one. But
Right.
I was the eternal introvert. I stayed to myself. I wanted to learn so badly. And I feel like if I had that support growing up, I think it would be a different path for me at this point.
Absolutely. Have you ever read the books Medical Medium, Anthony William?
No.
Mind blowing. A lot of my healing, some of my healing was through him too, with the Lyme and that. He's a medical medium, and he wrote several books, and he was supported from childhood on, and this guy is just amazing.
Wow.
So he has this direct connection to help us with future technologies that we aren't even aware of and ways to heal, and he's providing them to us now.
Wow.
So like millions of people have healed with his stuff. And it's all like natural things.
Called Medical Medium?
Yeah, Anthony William.
Anthony Williams. William.
William. Yep.
Okay.
Awesome.
I'm gonna write that down because I will forget.
I know.
Yeah, I think that's his maybe first name, middle name. I'm not sure.
And speaking of healing and crystals, is it as simple as when you have crystals, you go to, say, a vendor fair and you connect with somebody and they purchase certain crystals? Is it as simple as just carrying them on your person that helps you? How can somebody who's new to crystals actually take that first step after buying them and start on that road?
So with some of my customers that are like very, very new to crystals, I personally will connect them with like a mantra. I'll say, okay, I had my friend's little girl. They had a very scary incident happen at night outside their home. The little girl had some PTSD going on and she was having trouble sleeping. And I said, okay, I know what she needs. So I gave her 2 crystals and I said, here's the crystal she carries like in bed at night, put it under her pillow, inside her pillowcase. And before she goes to sleep, I want her to say this mantra. And I wrote this nice mantra to help her kind of ease, let her know she's loved and she's safe. And within a couple nights, her mom was like, I didn't even notice anything. Like, she's been sleeping perfectly fine. She's not woke up. She's not had any bad dreams. And she's been sleeping fine since. That's been like 2 months ago. And then I gave her a piece of black obsidian. I said she can carry this during the day, or she can wake up in the morning and she can say this mantra. So it's just like acknowledging that crystal and what its healing properties are, and making it part of like a prayer. That's really what a mantra is. And it gives you that power and that energy and that shift in your thought.
Lisa's got a question for you. She says she'd love to learn more about charging and cleaning crystals.
Ooh.
Can you give us kind of a brief synopsis of charging and cleaning crystals?
Clear quartz is your amplifier of anything. Selenite is your charger. And as far as clearing, you can set them out in the sun, or like I usually use Palo Santo, and I just do a clearing, with the smoke over them, and I'll say some words and release any energies or ties to them. That's what I do. It seems to work good because my house is loaded with them.
You know what would be kind of interesting? I wonder if we did like an episode of the podcast and had you do and let everybody get their crystals ready one night, and we do like a cleaning or a charging right here on a podcast that people could follow along with. What do you think?
I love that.
That would be very cool. I would love that. Mine are sitting on my selenite right now.
Make sure you recharge your selenite too.
Yep.
I'm gonna turn the volume down. Sorry, it got a little loud.
That's okay. Yeah. So I think that would be great if you'd be willing to do that. I think that would be wonderful.
And you recharge your selenite under the full moon, but make sure you don't leave it out in rain or snow because it's sensitive to water and moisture.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
So what do you do in Wisconsin when it's full moon and you want to recharge your selenite? I mean, how do you do that? What do you do?
I just set it out on my deck.
Okay.
Even in winter.
Gotcha.
I put mine out on my back patio steps and just let it sit.
And then like this window behind me is south facing. So if I really wanted to, I could just set it in there and the moonlight's going to beam in there.
Yep.
So you can set it in your windowsill too. That gets the moonlight.
Cool. Well, is there anything else that you would love to share tonight? Give you a couple seconds here to say whatever you want to say. I do want to remind people to find you on Facebook. You can search for Carnelian Corner Crystals on Facebook.
That's me.
Right.
Yep.
And you will find Yvette and all of the crystals that she has available and so forth. But go ahead.
I have to go shopping. Just saying.
So I don't have a lot like posted, but I do Facebook lives where you can shop like during the show. Yeah.
Very
or
cool.
To my local vendor events, which
Love it.
Sandy, that's a little far for you.
A little bit, but I'll be there in June.
Cool.
So
I'm going to try to do the farmer's market this summer downtown Fond du Lac.
Oh, that's so cool. We'll have to go to the Fond du Lac one, honey.
It'll be fun.
Yeah, that'll be great.
Great. That'll be fun.
Yay!
No, but if somebody reached out to you and said, hey, I'm looking for this or I need help with that, you could certainly help them via Facebook, right?
Yes, absolutely. I can't find moldavite right now. Sorry, guys.
What's up with that?
I don't know. It's very hard to find right now. Genuine moldavite. Everybody wants it.
There's like one person and they've got it like stashed away someplace.
I can't find that person
600
right now.
pounds of it, somewhere.
He's somewhere or she.
Thank you so much for being on with us. And if we could, I'd love to schedule like a little session so that we can do some cleaning and clearing and charging and stuff like that.
That would be
I
great.
love that. My singing bowl already said they'd want to be a part of that, so we can start with that.
Awesome. That would be great. I know we did a pendulum talk with Todd's sister Vicki, and
I love my
people.
pendulum.
Oh my gosh, me too. And people had their pendulums, and it was a really fun hour. So yeah, we'll definitely have to do something.
Love it.
Cool. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hopefully, no more demonic voices.
That was so weird.
It was so weird.
Thank you so much.
That was so fun. I like her.
That was great. I like her a lot.
So Yvette and crystals. I learned, I'm not necessarily saying I learned more from her of things to know, but I learned the fact that crystals work differently for different people.
Yes.
And their uses may be a little bit different for each person. And I really appreciated her kind of verifying my thoughts on that.
Yeah, me too. And because especially people who aren't, I guess, seasoned in the use of crystals yet, who are just sort of learning or interested in it, you go in with a completely open mind, a completely clean slate, because you have no idea really what each one means, what it can do for you, how to use it, how not to use it. And like a lot of things in the woo-woo world, the paranormal world, a lot of it is very individual to the person.
Yep.
I mean, you can get basic ideas of how to do things, but I'm sure the way I use my pendulum, for example, is not the same way you use yours.
Right.
Or your sister Vicki uses hers, or anyone uses theirs. We're all individuals. And so it's nice to know and get that validation that you have to work with these things in the way that is most comfortable for you and what works for you. And I think that generates good enough energy that it will work for you.
Right. I agree with you on that.
Yeah. So really, really good episode. And Yvette will be back with us very, very soon to go over some new stuff with us as well.
Yeah, we actually want to learn from her. One of the things she talked about was charging and cleansing crystals and stuff like that. And that's something that I've never had the opportunity to do. I've never even really thought much about it. So we asked her if she'd kind of do a masterclass on it. She said, yeah. So we're looking forward to that sooner rather than later.
You know, I love talking to people who are sort of like me. I love talking to people about any of these topics, but we've talked to some people who have, for example, known that they've had abilities pretty much their whole life. But I also love when we talk to people like Gina Koch or Yvette, who kind of knew that something was different, but didn't really know what was going on, went through a lot of shit in their lives, and really in the past handful of years of their life went full force into trying to understand it and try to manage it and try to evolve. And I love hearing from those people because it really makes you understand how important diving into who you are really, truly is.
Yep. And as Yvette mentioned as well, like more of her abilities and her strengths and the things she's able to do came through as she healed, as she healed, you know, and I think that's really important to know as well, that you see these people now in their life and they seem like they've got it all together. They've got all the answers and they understand all the stuff. And the truth of the matter is, it wasn't always that way for them. They were at a point in their life where they needed to make changes and they needed to heal. And they were able to do it. So I think that gives us all a little bit of confidence as well when it's time for us to change our lives.
It sure gives me confidence because I'm still in that stage where I'm trying to heal and I'm trying to come to terms with the things that were and might continue to be not so great in my life, my tendencies, the things I do or think or feel, and learning how to manage them. And so seeing these amazing people who are on that journey as well, who are really doing well with it, is really encouraging and very inspiring.
Well, we as we mentioned earlier, we're coming to the end of the season. We've got a couple of more programs for you coming soon, podcasts. We hope you tune into those. We hope you find us on Facebook. You listen in on any of the platforms that we have. And of course, don't walk away from those platforms. Don't walk away from the podcast without leaving us a review.
Reviews are so important. I don't know if I should sing it, but reviews are so important.
No, from now on, you're always going to sing it. Oh, I lost you again. Lost you again. You have been lost. Reviews
are so important. Look what my singing did. Look at that. I'm not singing anymore for you, Todd.
No, you've got to do it at least one more time for me because the software we use froze up while she was singing, and I think that does say a lot about your singing. But I think step forward and be strong and do just a little bit more singing for us.
Yeah, no. Nope, not doing it. You missed your chance. But yeah, reviews are really, really important to us because it really kicks us up a notch. And our 1-year anniversary is coming up in January, and we're going to do some special giveaways. And one of the giveaways that we're doing is for the people who leave reviews for us, whether it's on our Facebook page, whether it's on our Empathic Harry podcast Facebook page, the Sandy and Toddcast Facebook page, or it's on any of our platforms. If you leave a review, you have a chance to win a prize in January. So just make sure that you do that. It only takes a few seconds. I know it's easy to say, I'll do it next week and then forget about it, but do it right now while you're thinking of it. Leave us a great review and you get a chance to win some cool stuff to celebrate our anniversary.
One of the things we're giving away is Sandy will make you dinner. So that'll be good.
You don't want me to do that either. Although I send you some cool pictures of food.
How about if you cook and sing while you're cooking?
Oh my gosh, I'd have to pay them to let me do it.
That's what I thought too.
I'd have to pay you guys to let me do that.
That's what I thought
anyways, so, and also we'll be having some bonus episodes on our break as well, some little mini bonus episodes. So
good. Well, I guess until the next Sandy and Toddcast, I'll just say bye.
Bye.